I'm Jeanette, the Northdawn Coach. I'm glad you've joined me today as I continue on the topic that I introduced in the last video, which is when you are starting a job search process. I would bet that the voice in your head, and certainly the voices of your friends, family, trusted advisors, is all right, get your resume updated, get that out, brush it off, add some details so that you can start applying for jobs. And while I think that that really is an important step, I think that there's something important to do before taking that step so that you can have the most effective job search process possible. And this important step, as I introduced it last video, is around pausing to think about, well, what problem am I solving? Because without the clarity of figuring out what problem you're solving, you can't get the most effective results in updating your resume, searching for the right postings, etc. Now, I did not give you specifics around, well, how do we define that problem? How do we get clarity there? So what I want to introduce in this video and subsequent videos are some detailed steps around how you can get to that. And we'll walk through this over the course of the next weeks, step by step, giving you time to do the work yourself to make progress on this. Now, I don't mean that we're going to just take weeks and weeks to get to you moving forward with updating your resume. I'm not suggesting that you don't do some of that work, but I think this can be done effectively in parallel. So what's the process that we're going to use? I like to use with my career coaching clients a framework called the logical levels of change. And it's a framework that works for any sort of a goal that you're looking at. It doesn't have to be career specific, but I think it works very well in a career and a job search process. So the first step of using the logical levels framework is to define, well, what's the goal that you want to examine in the use of the framework. And so if you're in job search mode, I'm going to recommend that the question that you're really looking at is, what do you want to do next? Some variation on the theme of that. As I said, this framework can be used to examine a whole bunch of different changes. So you would you just want to target the question so it's not too wide. So yours is a career related question about what comes next in your jobs, in your career. Then, as the model name suggests, there are various levels, and the first level of the logical levels is called environment. And oftentimes, when we describe feeling stuck or having an issue with career, it's going to feel like it can be addressed in this first level, that it's encompassed, it's how we are experiencing the stuckness or the problems associated with it. However, it's not that that's not true, but I think in my experience, the solutions, like the really getting to the core of it, comes in being stuck further down in the other levels as we will investigate them. But it's an important step to really do a full inventory in this question. Now, environment as a category is huge. There are so many things that can fall into environment because it's about everything that's external to you. So it could be literally about your physical environment. So, the desk that you sit in, your chair, the view from your office, if you have a view, your commute, hybrid versus fully remote versus fully in person. It could be the city that you live in, the country, all sorts of things fall into that physical environment. And then we have things like your career itself. So the industry that you're in, the company or the organization that you're a part of, all sorts of things related to the specifics of your job. We have things like your relationships. So like your relationship with your peers, your colleagues, your manager, the leadership of your organization, all of those fall into relationships If we were looking at something that is a question that's maybe not as career related, you'd also be looking at things like relationships to family and friends, and that may play a place in the career as well. So it's all of those relationships. It's about environment is also about money or resourcing. So your compensation, maybe bonuses, lack thereof, all of that falls into that as well. And the final piece of what environment is also involves your physical body. So it might be about like how your body is needing to move within the, maybe there's some things that you are being asked to do in your role that you're not comfortable doing, in terms of like physical movement or lifting or all of those things. So all sorts of things can fall into environment. So, knowing that that is categorically where we are, the question that you're going to then ask yourself is, what is it about my current environment? Remember, really large category here. What is it about my current environment that is causing me to have this goal? Which, again, we talked about the goal is about some kind of a career change at this point. Take out a piece of paper, take out your journal, open up a doc, but take some notes on this. You could even record yourself and then transcribe it. But we want to get this down in a place that you can refer back to. Because as I said, likely some of the solutions to what we're looking for here are not going to be in the environment level. This is where we're going to start to see some of the symptoms of it come up. And then we're going to find later on in some of these other levels that we have more nuanced information to deal with. So you want to make sure that you are recording it in a place that you can go back to. So that's this week's action. That's this week's challenge, should you decide to take that on. Next week, I'll come back with the second question and the second of the logical levels and give some more instruction there. I guarantee you it is worth the effort to go through this process to get the clarity that you need to really move ahead most effectively. Again, you can still work on updating your resume. You can still be applying for jobs, but I want to make sure that you're clear that this process is running in parallel to that process as well. All right. Hope that's been helpful for you. If it would be helpful to spend some time together in a free, no strings attached, 45-minute career strategy session, I'm happy to do that with you. I'll put a link in the description box for scheduling. And then I will be back next week again with the next step of this process. In the meantime, have a wonderful week and thanks for watching. Take care.